Hello, John. Hello, everyone. Very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining in from. How's everyone doing? How's your day going? Hello. Um, mhm. In which part of the world are you joining in from? Cameroon. Nice to meet you. How about others? Very nice to meet you. We'll start in a couple of more minutes. We are expecting few more participants to join in. Meanwhile, if you can say hi or a hello in the chat box, make sure that you have selected everyone while sending out the message. Hello, hey Mohammed. How are you all? How's everything going? Uh, Great. We'll just start in a minute or so, expecting few more participants to join in. Meanwhile, if you can just say hello in the chat box and let everyone know where you're joining in from, that will be amazing. Hello from Nigeria. Nice. Okay, great. All right. So welcome all. Very excited to be here with all of you. In today's session, we'll try to understand, how we can build some visualization in Excel, how you can do some quick analysis and present it to the business stakeholder. It's going to be more like a demo class wherein I'll show you how powerful this age-old tool of Excel is. And in the process, we'll try to understand some Excel features, functions, and see how it can help answer business questions as well. Okay, so I'll be showing the whole process. I'll be showing you the whole process live. Maybe after the session is over, you will be getting the recording and the content. So probably you can practice it later on. But in the class, in the session today, I'll give you a walkthrough of how to create some beautiful dashboards in Excel. Okay. So great. Welcome all. My name is Saurabh and I'll be your host for today. Um, Let me quickly give you the guidelines that we'll follow in today's session. The session is on listen mode only, so that means we can't unmute and speak. So that's going to be the first part, but that doesn't mean that we can't interact. So we have to use the chat box. So the chat box that you're using right now, please utilize that as much as possible to discuss, to share your experiences, to ask any question. Feel free to do anything in that chat box, but please make the session interactive. This session recording will be shared. Like I said, I'll be doing some hands-on. And if you were to replicate that later on, whatever email that you have used for registering for this particular webinar, on that email, you'll find on that particular email, you'll find the recording. Okay, so don't worry in case you are missing some steps. If you have not got some steps, you can watch the recording all over again. At the end of the webinar, we'll be sharing a small feedback form. Please fill that up. It helps us a lot in improving the qualities of this session. Okay, just to reiterate, it will be a listen-only mode session. We'll be doing some hands-on. So in case you miss out on certain part, you can watch the recording. The recording will be shared. Please help me if anyone asks this question again. Just say yes, yes, the recording will be shared on the email that was registered. Please make the session interactive. Let's use the chat box that you're using right now to ask the question, discuss some of your experiences. Anything that you feel like saying in the chat box, feel free to use that. Okay. And please fill the feedback form at the end of the session. So these are some guidelines for the session today. Let me start off by introducing myself. I'm Saurabh. I'm currently working with Meesho. Meesho is one of the very fastest growing e-commerce company in India, which mainly caters to tier 2 and tier 3 cities here. I joined them very recently as a senior manager in business analytics and data science. Before to Meesho, I was working with LinkedIn for about 3.5 years. And in LinkedIn, I was associated with the job side of LinkedIn. So I have a very good pulse over, how the job market works, what kind of skill set are the recruiters looking for, how do you ensure that you end up landing a job in a particular domain, and how LinkedIn works in terms of data. So I'm pretty sure like I can help you with that as well. Before to LinkedIn, I was working with Airbnb for about 2 years. It's one of the best companies to work for in case you're looking to get a remote job to work from anywhere in the world. So it's one of the fabulous companies to work for. And before to Airbnb, I was working with Walmart for about 4 years, and that's where probably I learned all the tricks and trades of analytics by working in supply chain domain, procurement, customer analytics, e-commerce. So everything at Walmart I did in the first 4 years of my career. And with great learning, I've been associated with them since 3 to 4 years now, and have almost delivered 400 hours of content live. Okay, so very nice to meet you. I'm sure you're all excited about the prospect of the session, the things that we'll be learning in the session. So without wasting any time, let's get started into the program. Okay, so we'll start off with what is data analytics. I'll give you some brief about data analytics. Then we'll create a dashboard with the help of the data that we have. In case you have any questions, we'll try to answer that. And then we'll have a program. We have a DAE program, which is called as Data Analytics Essential Program. The team here, Mohit here, will probably give you the walkthrough about that. Okay. So what's happening around us, right? This is very important to understand what's going on in and around us. Can I consider that every minute that we spend on our mobile phone, huge amount of data is getting generated? The moment you use your phone, and if it is connected to internet, can I say your phone, your apps, your everything that you're using in the phone is capturing some form of an data? Any interaction that you make with the app, can I say the data gets generated? If you go to Instagram and if you just open Instagram, does Instagram capture all your information? And can I consider that to be the form of a data that we are dealing nowadays? Yes or no? Say you log in onto Instagram, does Instagram capture all the information about where you from? What is the time that you logged in? Which post did you see? Which post you did not see? Which post you liked? Which post you did not like? Which advertisement you saw? Which advertisement you saw and clicked? Can I say that all of this information gets generated and created in a minute of your journey on Instagram? Do you agree? Yeah. So can I consider there would be like so much amount of data that will be generated around us, crazy amount of data that will be getting generated around us. If you're using Google, Google is generating data. If you're using Google Maps, it is generating data. If you're using any of the social media apps, you're generating the data. So can I consider that this data generation is kind of rising as more and more devices get connected to internet? Previously, our watch was a simple watch. It would just show us the time. Nowadays, it is a smartwatch. And can I say that this smartwatch is capturing n number of data points about you? When you sleep, when you wake up, when you are sitting, when you are not sitting, right? Does all of that information get captured? Correct? Look at your television. It was a normal television, which will show some shows. Nowadays, it has become a smart TV. So it captures all your information about what you're watching, when you're watching, how you're watching, all of that information. Look at the cars. The cars were previously emitting only CO2. It was only emitting emissions. Nowadays, can I say it is like a software on wheels? It's generating huge amount of data as you ride. It knows how much you have taken the ride. He knows everything about which route you have taken. He knows every condition about the car, right? So in a way, because the devices are becoming smarter, large amount of data is getting generated, right? Now, can I say that in order to store this particular amount of data, you need a very large space? All the information that companies are capturing about you, in order to store that, can I say we need a large amount of storage available? Yes, no. You need like crazy amount of storage that you can utilize. Yeah. And if this storage is expensive, do you think the companies will store all the data? If the cost of storage of data is extremely high, do you think the companies would capture the data? No. Because over the years, if you look at this chart on the right hand side, what used to cost us $1 million to store 1 GB of data now costs us a cent to store 1 GB of data. So can I say it has become much more convenient, cost effective to store large amount of data? And that is why companies are capturing every information about you, right? Through the devices. Can I say that's their main objective? They want to capture more and more information about you, because the more the data that they have about you, they will be targeting you with the ads, they will be targeting you with the products, right? And why is that possible? Because the cost of storage of data has reduced significantly over the years, right? Now, on one side, you have a lot of data getting generated. One side, you have cost of storage getting reduced. So can I say companies are storing all the information that they're capturing of the customer? Every tiny detail about you is being captured and stored, right? And where it is stored? Have you all heard about this thing called as cloud? Anyone has heard this term cloud? Say GCP, Azure, AWS. Yeah. So what is this cloud? Cloud is enabling us to access the data from anywhere in the world at any time in any amount. Like if you have some photos uploaded on Google Cloud, can you access it from anywhere in the world? Can you access it n number of times? Can you access it at any time, anywhere, anytime, in any situation? Yes. So in similar way, the companies which the data was being stored in the physical servers, nowadays they are stored in a cloud system, and because they are stored in a cloud system, we can access the data from anywhere in the world. So even if the company is based out of US, can they get their work done on analytics from any part of the world nowadays? Do you think that's possible? Doing data analysis for a company sitting in US, say through London, is it possible? Because of the cloud system, yes or no? What do you think? It is absolutely possible. Yeah, because cloud makes it possible. Cloud makes it enables us to access the data from anywhere in the world at any given point of the time, right? So now you have a situation where there is a large amount of data which is getting generated and it will continue to increase. And then you have a situation where the cost of storage of data is decreasing and will continue to decrease. That means we'll have abundance of data. We'll have like crazy amount of data available with us. Now, just having the data is of no use. Can I say that the companies need to utilize that data for decision making? Right? Just having the data, does it solve any issues? Does it solve any problem? No. If you have this large amount of data, can I say you need professionals to work on this huge amount of data that you've been storing? Right? Otherwise, what's the use? You are taking the photos and you're storing it and you're not posting on Instagram. What's the use, right? So in similar way, you're capturing all the information, you're storing all the information, and you're not using it. What's the use? So in that way, we need to have hires, we need to have potential hires who knows the analytics, who knows how to work on data, and through that data, they can drive certain decisions, right? So that is where we are. So every tiny decision that any organization take, can I consider that it is nowadays backed by data? Even a simple decision, which person to hire, can I say a lot of data analytics goes behind in finding out the best talent available, isn't it? So for any tiny details, for any small details, for any small decision, the companies are using data, and we need to be equipped with the data skills that can help us, that can help companies make data-driven decisions. And you need to have professionals. So if you see this graph on the left-hand side, 21 is the data that is being utilized. 85 is the data which is not being utilized. That means almost 60 zettabyte of data every year, which is getting stored, is not getting utilized because there are not enough professionals, right? So let's see how do we, one of the most important skill set in this world of data analytics is your data visualization. In order to convey the insights from the data, can I consider charts to be a very good method of communication between the business stakeholders? Isn't it? If you have a large amount of data and you want to explain that data to the business stakeholders, can we leverage the power of data visualization? Right? Charts are good. Charts makes the things easy to understand. So what we do is we first get the data, we apply some analysis, we build some charts, And through that charts, we enable companies to make decisions. Okay, so I have a small case study. We'll try to solve that particular case study. And through that, I'll show you some features in Excel that probably you can start using as well. Um, Say if you were to describe yourself in Excel, how would you describe? Is it like beginner, expert, somewhere in between, intermediate? Just to get a hang of the class here. Okay. Um, so there is this company called as ABC Global. It's a e-commerce company headquartered in Europe. They sell variety of products. And as a data-driven organization, we need to understand the importance of analyzing business performance to identify trends, opportunities, and the areas of improvement. Okay, being a startup that is yet to make use of the data, they lack visibility into crucial business metrics without a comprehensive dashboard, somewhere in between. Okay, without a comprehensive dashboard, it becomes difficult to assess the performance accurately, identify potential growth, and make informed business decisions. So this particular company, which is a global retail company, they need a dashboard that can consolidate data from different sources into a visually appealing and user-friendly format. The dashboard should address the key questions and enable stakeholders to gain insights from our customer base, product sales, and overall sales trend. Okay, so we'll use the data and we'll try to find out some key insights for this particular company, which is into a retail solutions. Okay, so these are some of the questions that we'll try to answer. And whenever you get the content, you'll find a link. This is the data that I'll be using. Probably I can share it in the chat. So just in case if you also want to do it later on, you can utilize the data. Of course, this deck will be shared and you'll be having the link to this particular data. Okay, so now let's see how do we use Excel to build some nice dashboards. Okay, so this is the data set that we have. Can you clearly see? Do you want me to zoom it further? Is the screen clearly visible to all of you? Okay, great. So if you look at this, we have this row ID, which is just an identifier. We have the order ID. We have the date on which the order was placed. We have the information about the ship date. We have the information about how the shipping was made. Was it first class, second class, like that? We have the idea about the customer who made the purchase. We have the name of the customer. What segment does he belongs to? Is he a consumer? Is he home office? Is he a corporate? So we have the segment of the customer. Then we have the information about the city, state, country, region, market, right? Which market do they belong to? Then we have the information about the product name, category, subcategory. So all the information about the product. And then finally, we have the information about the sales. So we get to know what is the total sales that was made in that purchase, the quantity, the discount, the profit. So overall profit also we have. And then what was the shipping cost in that particular, whatever was the shipping cost. So we have that information. And finally, what was the priority of the order? Is it a high order, high priority order, medium priority order, or a low priority order? So this is a data set that we have, right? Seems reasonable to understand. Any doubts in any of the columns? Yeah, straightforward. The data about the purchases. Okay. Now, the first thing that you should always do is select this particular data. You can press Control A and convert this data into the table, right? So this table helps you do calculations faster than not being in the form of a table. So once you select this particular table, you can go to this format as table and just convert this in a form of a table. Okay, so that's the first step that you should do always. Whenever you get the data, convert it into the form of a table. So as soon as you convert it into form of a table, it gives a filter. He formats the data. This looks much better. He gives the boundaries to the data. And one of the most important part is like you can filter and play around with this data very easily. Okay, so the step one in the process that you should always do is the data that you're working on, go to this format as table and just select any format that you like. Okay, that's your step one. Okay, understood? Just convert this into the table and it becomes more structured, much more cleaner, much more featured wise. It is much better. Okay, so this is the first step, format it as a table. Now what you do is, I'll create a dashboard wherein for every different categories, every different verticals, I'll try to analyze the sales. Okay, my total focus on this particular dashboard is on the sales. So I'll try to analyze sales for each one of them. Okay, so how we'll do that is using this concept of pivot tables. Does anyone know pivot tables here? Anyone has used pivot tables? Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So instead of writing formulas, you create a pivot table and then you can do the entire analysis by dragging and dropping. Okay. Like you can create a table, you can go and insert the pivot table. Then you don't need to apply any formulas, any complex maths. Pivot table will be able to do it for you. Okay, I'll show it to you in a while. So I'm going to create a new sheet and I'll call this as my dashboard. Okay, and the first thing that I'm going to do here is I want to give the header. So to give the header, this is what I'll select. This will be my area of the header. I'll just merge it and then I'll write the thing called as Global Superstore Insights Dashboard. Okay, that's the first thing that I'm going to do. I'm just going to increase the size of it, make it bold, and also color it. Let's say I'm using green as a theme. I'll also sort of color it. Okay, this is my header. Now, next, what I'll do is I need something called as header metrics. What are header metrics? So header metrics are those metrics which enables you to give like an overview summary of whatever information that you have. Okay, so for that, I'll make sure that I create some space. This is my first space. I'll just merge it and then I'll select the outside tick border. This is going to be my first metric. This is going to be my second metric. Okay. This is going to be my third metric. And that's all. Okay, so there you go. This is just like my header metrics that I'll put. Now in this, I'll try to show what is the total sales. Right? The first thing that I want to know the business owners is the total sales. So this is where we will create total sales. Increase the size 20. So this is going to be my total sales. Here I'm going to use my total profit. And I also want to show how much quantity we sold. So total sales, total profit, and the total quantity as well. Okay, now because we have converted our data into the form of a table, and here I want the sum of the sales columns in the orders table. I want the sum of the sales in the orders table. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to simply write equal to, okay, one more thing I'll do. Whenever I convert it into a table, I can give it a name. So let me call this particular table. If I click on table, I'll call this as a orders table. Okay, whenever you do this particular step of format as table, right? Whenever we have done this step of format as table, it will create a tab called as table. And in that, I'll give the name as orders. So now how is this useful? So if I write equal to, let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, now if I write equal to sum, okay, then I will say orders. This is my table name. Then give a square bracket. Okay, I've written orders, then given a square bracket. I want sales. So I'll select the column sales and then close the square bracket. So instead of selecting manually that entire column, anyone who would be knowing about it, isn't this much more convenient? Like I don't have to even go to that sheet. Whatever I want, I write the table name, whatever column I want, I write that column name. And then if I write equal to sum, it will give me the result. Right? See how do you do this? So you write equal to sum. Okay, then what is the table name? The table name was orders. So I write orders, take a square bracket, give the column name, which was sales, close the square bracket, close the circular bracket, and you get the total sales. Yeah, does it make sense? Cool. This is my total sales. Now, if I were to find out the total profit, can I do the same thing? Equal to orders table. Then I will give the square bracket profit. So I select profit, close the square bracket, close the circular bracket. Okay, I want to actually give sum. So sum of this. So I get the profit. Right. So I've got total sales, total profit. And in similar way, if I want to know the total quantity, I'll do sum. Sum is a function. Then I'll go to the table orders. Then I'll take the square bracket and select quantity. Okay, so this is what my header metrics would look like. These are called as header metrics, like the super overview about what is going on in your organization. So that is what we are giving: total sales, total profit, and the total quantity sold. Um, you can watch the recording, right? Like if I keep on repeating the steps, I may not be able to cover more options. So would that be fine, guys? Given the limitation of the time, yeah, like I just show you the process. Anyways, like I said, the recording will be shared, so you can go over the steps and do it later on. Okay. Okay. Now I've got this. I've got my header metrics. The next step that you can do is I'll just leave this space for filter. Okay, I'll leave this particular space for the filters. So this could be your space for filters. We'll add the filters in here. Okay, later on, first we will try to create a dashboard the way we want. Okay, so this will be my space for filter. Okay, now let's start by first and the most important thing that we need to analyze is the trend of sales over time. Can I say this is one of the most important thing that any business would want to know? Trend of sales over the time, right? Can you suggest any chart for time kind of a data? If the data is on the time side, can you suggest any chart, line chart, bar chart? I want to know how the sales are looking like over the period of time. Which chart can we use? Line chart. Okay, let's see this. So in order to create the line chart, can I say first I need the data at a month or a quarter or a year level? Right now, the data that we have is at a date level. So can I say we need the data first I need the sum of sales with respect to year or quarter, right? So how do we do that? We'll do that using our pivot tables. So let's see how to create a pivot table. Pivot table is like, magical functions. Without writing a single line of code or any function, you can do some data analysis. So how do we do this is, I'll just select a cell in the first chart, in the first data set, which is the orders data set. I'll go to insert. Okay, I'll select the data. I'll go to insert, and then I'll select the pivot table. Okay, I repeat. I was on dashboard. I want to draw trend of sales over time. I'll go to the orders table. Okay, I'll go to the orders table, and then I'll select this pivot table, select anywhere in this orders table. I'll select the pivot table, and then it is asking what is the range. The range is the orders table, that is correct. Whatever is part of the orders table, I want it to be selected. And the second thing that it is asking is, where do you want to place the pivot table? Like, where do you want that pivot table to be visible? I want that to be visible in my dashboard sheet, right? So I'm going to go to existing worksheet, click here, and then I'm just going to put my pivot table option in here. And if I press OK, so I've selected the pivot table and I asked him to place it in this particular segment. And if I press OK, this is how the pivot table would look like. Okay, so you will have 4 options: filters, columns, rows, and values. Rows will display the values in rows, columns will display the values in columns, values will do any aggregation that you want, and filter will obviously filter your data. Okay, now in this case, what I want is, if I want to show the trend of sales over time, I need to take the orders date, right? I need to take the orders date and I'll put it in the rows. So as soon as I take the order date and put it in the rows, it takes the year, quarter, month, day. Like if you just click on doing this, it creates a data set like this, the unique years present in the data. So I repeat what I've done. In my pivot table, once I got the pivot table, I took the orders date, and now I can see the data in different levels. It can be at a year level, it can be at a quarter level, it could be at a day level. That information is available in here. Now for this respective years, I want to know the sum of sales. So I'll take this sales and put it onto the values. Okay, I'm taking in rows, years. It is displaying the years in rows. And then I'm taking the values and I want the sum of sales. So can I say this is giving me for every year, what is the total sales? Correct? The output of this pivot table, can I consider it to be like the sales over the years? Absolutely. Now we need to plot the chart out of this. I want to know the trend, right? This is not giving me any trend. I can't see any trend. So what I'll do, I'll select a line chart. So how do you, from the pivot table, how do you create a line chart? Just select any value in here. Okay, just select any cell in the pivot table. Go to insert. Okay, select any cell in the pivot table. Go to insert and then select the line chart. Okay, so if I select the line chart, it will come out to be like this. Okay, what did I do? Let me repeat once more. I was in the orders table. I clicked on the orders table. I went to insert. I selected pivot table. It asked me for the range. Range is the orders, whatever was in the orders table. It asked me to place it somewhere. So I'm like, okay, I have existing worksheet. Don't create a new one. And then I provided him the address where I want that particular pivot table, which is in here. And then I pressed OK. Okay, so this gives me the pivot table. Now then what I wanted to know the trend of sales over time. So as a time variable, I selected order date, put it onto the rows. So it displayed all the years in rows. And then I took my sales and put it onto the values. Okay, so this gave me the sales for every year. And then if I wanted to draw the chart, how the trend looks like, so I just simply went to insert. And here in the line chart, because it's a line, time is a line variable. So I selected the line chart and selected this. So this gives me the line chart for the sum of sales over time. Okay, now if I click on this 2014, can I say now this is at a quarter level? Now if I click on 2715, again, it is giving me the distribution by quarter. If I click on 2016, it is again giving me distribution by quarter. And if I go to 2017, it gives me the distribution by quarter. Now, do you observe any seasonality here? Is the sales increasing in a certain quarter and then decreasing in certain quarter? Yeah. So yeah, Q3 it is Q4 it is increasing actually. Q4 it increases and then it decreases in Q1. So can I say that it is probably because of the holiday seasons? Yeah, Q4 is usually when you have the holidays, festives and holidays. So maybe that's the reason why the sales are increasing here. Okay, I'll call this chart as sales over time. I don't need this total. I'll remove this total. And just to make it color consistent, I'll just go to design and I'll select one color, which is going to be my this green. So there you go. My first chart is ready. Yeah, it decreases. No, it decreases in the first quarter. So did you all get the process? Yeah, could be. Is is this making sense? First, create a pivot table, and on top of that pivot table, we create a pivot chart. Okay. So is this? Okay. Let's go to the next part. I have different categories, and I want to know the percentage distribution of the sales by that category. So any guesses like which chart can be of a great help to show the distribution percentage by category? What comes to your mind? You have three categories and you want to know their distributions. So pie chart. Okay, let's make a pie chart. Yeah. For distribution, we can definitely use a pie chart. Just going to copy this, paste it in here, call it as distribution of sale. Right. Okay, so now we don't need to recreate the pivot table. Don't again go back and create a pivot table. You can simply copy and paste the pivot table. And that is more important because then we can connect the previous pivot table with the next pivot table. So just copy the pivot table, paste it in here. Now what I want is, I'll remove all of this. I want the sum of sales by category. So I'll select sum of sales by category. I'll select sum of sales by category. This is my pivot table. So for every category, I've got the sum of sales. Now what I'll do is, again, the same process. I'll click on this, go to insert, and then select the pie chart. Okay, so create a pivot table, get the data that you want, then select that particular data and click on the chart that you want. So I'll get a pie chart. Right? Very simple. I'm sure you would have been doing this in a very complicated way, but if you create the pivot table, click on that pivot table, go to insert, and then select the pie chart. That's it. Or maybe if you want like a donut chart, you can use a donut chart. All right. Now, do you think it would be better if we show the numbers, percentage numbers on this chart? Yeah, will it be better for the user to understand what percentage of sales are coming? So you go to format, you go to design, add chart element. Okay, design, add chart element, and then it will be saying show. Add chart element, or you can say, or you can use this legend. you can use this thing. So labels, and then you can select this show. So data labels. Yeah. So if you want to show the category name, you can show this as well. Like this. Does it look good? uh, let's say we'll not select the value, we'll select the percentage. Is this what you wanted? 38% of the sales is coming from tech, 32 is coming from furniture, and 30 is coming from office supply. This is much better. And I'll just put a simple theme, which is the green color theme, and we put a green. Okay, let me repeat. How did I get to this chart? I selected this pivot table. I went to insert. I selected the pie chart. It gave me a very dull looking pie chart. Now I need to make it better. So I went to design, add chart element, data labels. I selected this option of more data labels. Yeah, recording will be shared. Absolutely, yes. As soon as the class is over, you will have this option of label options. In that, I selected category name. I selected percentage. And I just put it outside. That's how I did this. And then if you want to change the color, I just selected the green color. And this is my sales by category. Sales distribution. Okay, that's my second chart. Now let's say I want to know from which region are we getting the sales, right? I want to know which is that region which is much preferred. So I want to know the distribution. This time I want to know the distribution of the sales by category and its region. Okay, this is overall, but I want to know from which region are we getting more sales from, in which category. Do you think a stacked bar chart could be a good option here? Because it has two dimensions, two categorical variables. What do you think? Like a stacked bar chart where the stacked is colored by the region. Yeah, let me show you. So I'll just copy and paste this. Yeah. And I want to know the distribution of the sales. Yeah. I've got the sales by category. I want to know its distribution by region. So I'll take the region and put it onto the columns. I think I should not select region. I'll select market because they are too much. Okay, this is the market. Africa, Asia Pacific, Europe, Latin, USA, etc. Now, once you create this kind of a table, wherein categories in rows, markets in column. Yeah, of course. Like I said, all the recording and the content, whatever is being shared right now will be shared to you. Just understand the power of Excel and how easy it is to use and still be able to get like a very good visualization. That's what I'm trying to show you here. Okay, now once you got this particular data, we go to insert and then I will select this chart and I want to know the distribution chart. So I'll just simply use this stack bar chart. Stack bar. Okay, so there you go. So this chart is ready. Now, which region has very good sales? This orange one, Asia Pacific, has the highest sales. Yes, the recording will be shared, guys. For sure, the recording will be shared. Just don't worry about it. Okay. Now, what I'll do is I want to display the numbers. So I'll go to format, I'll go to design, and I'll say labels, and I'll say show labels. Okay, so this also gives me the label. Or if you want to show the labels, more labels, instead of the value, you want to show the name, you can do that as well. Okay, so again, the same thing you can do in here as well. So you can show the name, but if you observe very carefully, the orange one is the Asia Pacific one. So can I consider that to be the, the best-selling category, that should be the best-selling region? Correct? Okay, so I'll just give it a color so that we are able to distinguish. So this is how it will look like. Okay. Have you got the process now? Like, how do you create a dashboard? Like pivot table, chart, pivot table, chart, pivot table, chart, right? Now, once you have got this, you can go on, right? There are so many charts. If you go to insert, you'll find like tons and tons of charts that are available. So you can definitely play around with that. Now, what we do is we'll connect this so that the user is able to slice and dice the data. He's like able to select some categories and do the analysis. So in that case, what I'll do is I'll add some filters. And how do we add that filter? So select any pivot table of your choice, any. It could be any of the pivot table. I'll connect all of them. So I'll just select this pivot table. I'll go to design. Sorry, I'll go to pivot table analyze. And here you see this option of insert slicer and timeline. So this is like a filter that you can apply. Okay, so I'm going to select insert slicer. And I want to do this entire analysis by customer segment because that's really important. And I also want the user to select the order priority. How is the sales coming based on order priority? So if I select this slicer, how did I get the slicer? I went onto the pivot table. I went to insert. Sorry, I went to pivot table analyze. And this is where the slicer is. Slicer is like your filter to all of this. So I'm going to insert the slicer and I'm going to select, say, ship mode, segment, and the order priority and press OK. So now, if you observe, can I say this is like a filter that we have? And if I want to increase the column, so this is 2 columns filter. I'll show you how it works. This is 1. This is 2. So just simply arranging the size. And in one row, if I want to, I'm just selecting columns 2 from here. Then the order priority, again in here, again that particular space, again the column 2. Okay, now see what happens. So if I click on first class, my data of this particular pivot table will change to first class. If I want to know about home office, so first class plus home office, this is it. First class plus home office plus high, this is it. Right? Isn't this cool? If you want to remove it, you can clear the filter, you can clear the filter, you can clear the filter. Let's say I only want to analyze the consumer segment. So if I click on the consumer segment, this data changes for the consumer segment. Even the chart, which is connected to pivot table, also changes to the consumer segment. First class, and what if you want to see first class and total of all? The first class, so you just remove this like this. Now this is first class and everything else remains the same. So just ensure that you have removed the filter from here. So now this data is for the first class. Make sense? This is what you wanted. Okay, now if you remove it, it will be back to normal. Now this is happening for the first one. Now can I say if I select this filter, it should also connect to all the pivot tables, whatever we have drawn? Wouldn't that be amazing? In one go, I can analyze all the other charts that we have. So how do we connect this particular filters to all the pivot tables that we have created? So if you click on this slicer, there's this option called as report connections. Okay, if I click on the slicer, it has the option of report connection. So I'll click on this report connection and select all the pivot tables. I'll click on this slicer, go to report connection, select all the pivot tables. I'll go to this slicer, click on report connection, select all the pivot tables. Okay, now see the magic. Now what will happen? If I select, say, consumer, the entire data is now for consumer. If I select consumer plus first class, this entire pivot is now filtered for consumer and first class. Now, if I select for high, like three option, now this entire data is for these three variables, right? So this is how my dashboard would look like. Okay, and finally, one more thing that we'll do. Do you think it is also important for the users to do the time analysis? Maybe they just want to do for a year, they want to just do it for 2 years. Can that happen that people are only looking for certain time frame of data? Yeah. So in order to do the time frame analysis, we click here, go to design, go to pivot table analyze, and this time I'll select insert timeline. So timeline only works on time series data, right? So I'll select here order date. It only works on a date. So I'll select order date. And now what happens is, this is again as a filter. This is also similar to your filter. And the only nice thing about here is, say if you select months, if you select years, you have got all the 4 years. Okay, now what? Now see this. So if I want to only analyze the data for 2018, I click on it. This is the data of 2018. If I want to analyze the data of 2017, this is data of 2017. If I want 16 and 17, this is 16 and 17. And it's changing for all of them. If I want to analyze 15, 16, and 17, it's nice, right? Your dashboard is kind of ready. Understood how to make some cool dashboards in Excel. Now, don't worry, the recording will be shared. The recording will also have the link to the data. If you still want the link to the data, I can paste it in the chat box. But this is how you create a dashboard in Excel. Okay, any questions? Anyone? No one? Did you like it? Did you understood? Very interesting. It's super clear. Okay, great. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask in terms of anything around data. We'll be more than happy to answer. Otherwise, I'll have Mohit to take over. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hey Mohit, nice to see you again.
Hello, how are you doing, Saurabh?
All good. Thank you.
All right, I'll take it up. So, hello everyone, how are you doing? Let me just share my screen. Yes. So, can everyone hear me? I hope I'm audible to everyone. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear.
Very well. So, it was a really, really insightful session by Saurabh, right? So, as we have seen, it's really, really interesting to understand how easily we can analyze data and keep up with our professional requirements with the current times. Right. It has been seen for the past few years, and it has been shown by sort of very well, right? The professionals who are having these skills of data analytics to the best of the industry standard are some of the professionals who are highly rewarded for their career progressions, right? And building of your skills of data analytics, right? Of course, it's a process, right? It's a journey. So how exactly do you take your first step? How do you build your knowledge, your expertise in data analytics? So what you just saw was you learning how to use Excel, right? So it's a very, very strong analysis tool, but it has a lot more in-depth technologies and tools and tricks which can be utilized. Apart from that, this is just one of the tools and technologies which are used in analytics. Let us say you are a professional in an MNC and you have a data set which is a really huge data sets and you cannot work on just using an Excel, what will you do then? How will you analyze the data? You have other technologies, other tools, right? You may have Python, you will have SQL. All these technologies are database management systems for the purpose of simplifying your data analytics, give you the insights of the data and tell you the story from it, which is going to help you make those data-driven decisions in your job, right? This is what has kept professionals in this domain going ahead at an enormous space for the career progression. And we are here to make that possible for you, right? So whatever you have learned, just a tip of the iceberg for what you need to do in terms of learning data analytics is, just hear me out, is going to be a very comprehensive data analytics program. Now, this Data Analytics Essentials program is being offered by McCombs School of Business of the University of Texas at Austin, right? So you can see that University of Texas at Austin, one of the oldest university in United States of America and one of the top university in the entire world, uh, an academic giant in that sphere, right, is providing the learners and professionals all over the world a potential chance to make themselves adept at using data analytics skill sets and then flourish in their career ahead, right? Now, what are the details of this program? What exactly are you looking at learning? Are you going to be looking at learning like this in this entire program? More so, yes. And yes, of course, a lot more things. So this is the overall overview of the program, as you can see on the screen. So first and foremost, the duration of this Data Analytics Essentials program is 13 weeks, right? So it's 3 months and 1 week. What exactly are you going to be learning is from the basics, the data analytics skill sets, including Excel, learning SQL, learning Python, and even learning data visualization using tools such as, if you have heard about Tableau, right? What exactly is it going to be helpful for you? If in case you are going to be entering into the domain of data analytics, or if in case you are going to move ahead into the managerial positions, leadership positions, it becomes really, really important for you to give your strategic decisions to meet the business requirements. It's not going to just make it go by working on biases or just simple working on data sets, right? So in that case, this program is going to be really helpful for you. So what we are going to be taking up is data analytics, business intelligence, and data visualization with this program. Now, this is going to be a personalized mentorship program. So just as Mr. Saurabh has helped all of us to learn some of the intricacies of learning Excel, similarly, this program will provide you mentorship sessions every week so that you can learn some of the latest technologies and techniques which are being implemented in some of the best organizations, right? Now, uh, what are the total duration, details about the program, right? So within this 13 weeks, you are going to be having it online. On a weekly basis, you are looking at almost investing your 8 to 10 hours for this program, right? Why 8 to 10 hours? Because you need to keep up with the pace of the program, including the curriculum of the program and the live session that you will be having, so that you can work on your practice of business applications of data analysis, right? Now, for this, we do provide a lot of flexibility to the working professionals who are going to be joining this program. So yes, on the weekdays, you're not going to be bothered by scheduled classes. You will be having your complete flexibility given to you. As per your own time convenience, you can complete your modules from the faculty of McCombs School of Business, which will cover the concepts of data analytics, whether it be Excel, whether it be Python, whether it be data analysis, whether it be data querying, or even visualization, right? But on the weekend, either on Saturday or Sunday, you are going to be having your live interactive session with an industry expert such as Saurabh, right? So this will be for at least 2 hours, and you will be having it in a micro cohort of only 25 professionals so that we can provide you personalized assistance. We have to take care of each and every learner who is joining the program and make sure that their requirements are being met, right? So you work on business application through these live sessions so that you can practice whatever concepts you have learned. How do you apply it in your business, in your job? so that you can flourish and excel there and focus on career progression, right? This is going to be done in overall 8 to 10 hours. So 2 hours of your live session and almost 7 to 8 hours for your modules on the weekdays. Now, in this case, you might be thinking this is going to be an online program. How are you going to be supported? Who is going to be looking at your progression? Who is going to be keeping a tab of your overall completion of the program, right? So, in order to make sure that your experience in this program is meeting the best of the standard, you are going to be assigned a program manager right from the start you join the program. Now, a program manager can be considered as your support throughout the program's journey. And whenever you face any sort of challenges, any sort of problem, any bottlenecks, and it can be at as according to your time, right? It does not be need to be in the daytime or nighttime, whenever it is. Just let your program manager know, and they are going to be returning to you within 24 to 48 business hours with a valid resolution for it, right? This is going to make sure that none of your problems go unsustained, right? Now, coming to the aspect of what exactly are you going to be learning in terms of your hands-on experience, what exactly will you be building? So you have more than 15 case studies of international organization learning how data analytics concepts have been used to solve some of the tricky problems in the industries. You do it under the industry experts' guidance, and then you are going to be working on your own three industry standard project right under the guidance of the industry experts with their evaluation and feedback so that you can improve upon them and make sure that your portfolio, which is going to be your bread and butter in terms of showcasing your hands-on experience, is prepared to the best of the industry standards and its benchmarks, right? Now, this is, of course, going to be a very crucial time for the professionals who are joining the program because this program is going to make sure that you learn everything in a very linear fashion. You start from the basics. So you will be learning the foundational level knowledge about what is Excel, what is Python, what is SQL, what is even a little bit of mathematics, right? So you would be needing some statistical understanding in order to make those future-centric decisions, right? So you learn these through your pre-work modules and as a basics of it. Once your cohort starts, it will be very linear progression into advanced level. So Abdul, I can see that you have raised a hand. You can just type in your question, right? If in case you have, I'll just look into it and address it for you. I'll make sure for it, right? Now, coming to the end of this program, right? Let us say this program you have successfully completed. On the end of 3 months of the program, you will be eligible to get your certificate of completion from the UT Austin, University of Texas at Austin directly. And apart from that, you will be getting your e-portfolio, which you can always share for your evaluation purposes with the recruiters. Now, after that, you will be made sure to go through your dedicated career assistance. Now, we are going to help you with your review of your resume and your LinkedIn profile so that we can help you upgrade them, meet the best of the industry standards, get them more visibility, more chances of potential of getting shortlisted. We are going to give you interview preparatory modules so that you can prepare for your interview processes as well, right? And after that, you are going to be going through one-to-one counseling sessions with a counselor to understand what exactly might be there if in case you are going to take a next step and apply for jobs, what sort of situations might you deal with, right? How can you plan your next step, right? So you do get all your industry knowledge in this program right now. If you are specifically asking me about what the curriculum of this program is, so as I've told you, this 13 weeks, how each week of yours will be structured. As you can see, before the start of the week one, which is your start of the cohort, you start with your pre-work modules, which is basics of analytics. What exactly, how are you going to be using Excel? What exactly can you do with it? What are advanced formulations for it, right? What are descriptive statistics? How do you work with statistics and what exactly will they need it for, right? These are going to be before your cohort starts so that you have a basic level understanding and you do not feel out of place once your cohort starts. Once your cohort starts, you're looking at a very conducive and coherent curriculum. You start with understanding what is the analytics life cycle of a product, right? Then you work on to understanding how do you use Excel to generate your analysis insights, right? Once you have done that, Excel is done, then you move on to SQL, better technology, more advanced technology. How do you query using Excel? How do you filter data using Excel? How do you extract data? How do you work on certain level of checking for compliances of the data, you can say, right? Using SQL, you can do all that. So in a sense, business intelligence can be learned using SQL. Then you understand about Python programming from week 7, which is going to be advanced level data analysis, working on very, very big problems, very, very big project. How do you work on exploratory data analysis, work on future projections, and work on insights from those data, right? You will also be learning about NumPys and Pandas, as you can see on week 8. By the week 12th, you start working on your visualization. How do you visualize whatever data you have analyzed, right? So you have seen in this case, Excel is a good tool which can help you visualization of the data, right? But there are even comprehensive and advanced tools and techniques like for Tableau. They are very, very specifically made just for visualizing the data which is analyzed to a very, very coherent, in a very coherent manner, which every non-technical stakeholder can even understand easily, right? So you'll be learning using Tableau what your storyboarding is, right? So this is the vision. This is the natural progression of how you are to get into a profile of a future-centric professional, right? You have to understand where the industry is going, where the professional requirements are going to be in the next few years. You need to be a professional who can who is capable of solving business problems not only based on biases and your expertise of your background, but by analyzing data, understanding what your business requirements is, what your customers requirement is, what the market competition is looking at, what are um, uh, economy the volatility in the economy is going to be happening in, right? What it is going to cause as an overall result. You need to just have these things in your mind and then work towards upskilling yourself. Learn data analytics technologies, methods, algorithms, work towards getting into the profile of AI in the future, right? This is going to be a very strong entry point for that sort of career ahead. Now, this is what the certificate is going to be after you completed the program. So as you can see, it is going to be offered to you directly from the University of Texas at Austin, and it is going to be properly attested. The QR code can be scanned and you will find your details mentioned into the repository of UT Austin as an enrolled learner in one of its program. Who is this program for? Any professional who is looking to keep up with the current business requirements or even excel at that. Even if in case you are a junior fresher or even a college student, a senior college student, it's much more going to be rewarding for you to start your career from the get-go in the domain of data rather than thinking about this in the future and then making a decision based upon what others are doing, right? So it's a right time, it's a ripe time for every professional to move ahead in this domain. Now, how are you going to be joining this elite program? This is one of the most enrolled global program by University of Texas at Austin. So in this, it's going to follow a really very rigorous rolling admission process. The first step is that you need to apply for this program using an easy application form, which is free of cost. And if in case you just take a time and go through the chat itself, you will find the application form link shared to each and every learner here in this session today, so that you can go ahead and apply for the program. Once your application is received by Great Learning, you are going to be going through your screening process. Your program advisor is going to be connecting with you, understanding your application, understanding your requirement and your fitment into the program. And then based upon that, you will be taken for the approval for the selection in the program. If in case you are approved, your offer letter is going to be issued to you by the admissions office and you can join the program by paying the program fee. Now, coming to the program fee, it is quite evident. It is mentioned in the on the screen. The total fee of this comprehensive career establishing program is 1,800 US dollars, right? So this is the overall fee of the program, which of course will have um, flexibility involved into it. So you do have installment options, which differs from different geographies to geographies. It will be very advisable that you complete your application and join in with your program advisor to understand what are the installment options for your respective geography, right? Now, the application deadline is 15th of May at this point of time. So I would request you that you do not waste any time. Just go ahead and complete your application so that we can connect with you and we can help you out, understand the program, understand your requirement, and make sure that you are learning everything to the best of the industry standard level, right? This is going to be the overall details about the program. Now, considering what exactly are going to be what is the collaboration between UT Austin and Great Learning, right? So you had seen that this program, academically, it's going to be delivered to you by the University of Texas at Austin, but the delivery partner of this program is Great Learning. Why? Because, of course, University of Texas at Austin, being an academic giant, is not going to be providing this program and reaching out to each and every interested learner all over the world, right? So delivery has been taken care by the Great Learning. So we will be taking care of your admission process as well as your 24/7 support in terms of your program manager. Now, everything else in terms of your curriculum, in terms of your accreditation, in terms of your project will be taken care by the university itself, right? I hope this clears everything to each and every one of you here with us. If in case you have any questions, please let me know what are your questions so that I can address them and help you with addressing them. Go ahead, please. Yeah, Deborah, what is your question? You can just type it. Hello. Yeah. So Deborah, the payment plan, I have already explained it to you, right? It's 1,800 US dollars, which is going to be having its flexibility, right? So in terms of flexibility, what do I mean? You do have installment options, but that differs from different geographies to different geographies, right? So it will be really, really advisable for you to understand how many installment options do you have by completing your application and connecting with your program advisor so that they can assist you in this case, right? Any other question? So, Praise, this is not a scholarship program. In this case, specifically, since this is a professional program, right? We are not offering any scholarship just like that, but based upon your candidature, it might be possible. So it will be really, really important for you to go through your process, initiate it, and based upon your screening, if in case your candidature is strong, you might be eligible for certain partial scholarship, but this is not going to be a completely funded program, right? So being from a university, it's an university program. We cannot offer it fully funded, but of course, for strong profiles based upon candidature, we can offer certain partial scholarship that is going to be helpful when you are going to be going through your selection process, right? So Clark, you have asked earlier question, is there an e-certificate of this webinar will be provided? No, there will be no certificate for your uh, attendance in this session, but of course you'll get your recording of your webinar, right? So if in case all the questions have been addressed, I hope to look at many of you very soon in the program with us, right? The application form link is there in the chat box for everyone to see. You can go ahead and copy it, click on it, go ahead and fill it. It's free of cost. It's not going to be charged, right? Also, it's going to give you the demo content of the program. So you will get to understand how the program's classes are being conducted. You already have an idea how the live session is going to be conducted, right? So I will be looking very soon with some of you who are going to be joining. And until then, so Isaac, there is a question that when you receive an offer for this program, is there a way to check your status on the school's website? So your official offer letter will be from Great Learning, right? So that will be taken care in terms of your completion of the admission. So school's website will never be showcasing your admission, even if you go for an on-campus program, right? So you can only see it in your LMS portal, and we will be giving you the access to the LMS portal. Your certificate, which will be issued to you at the end, it will have your QR code, which can be scanned, and you can find your details in the school's repository, right? So you will find it into the university's repository that your details are mentioned. You cannot find it in the website. It's not how it works, right? Website cannot disclose the details of every learner who is enrolling on the website, right? Right. So everyone, do take care of yourself. It was really, really a pleasure to connect with you all, lovely people, right? I will be looking forward to seeing you, many of you in the program, and let us assist you in developing your career ahead for the future times, right? All the very best, and do take care of yourself. Until then, goodbye, right?